how do you break an extended fast? You've been going without food for many days now, and you've come to that point where you've decided that you're ready to start eating food again. What's the process look like, and how do you do that safely and in a way that's gentle with your system so that you don't run into problems? Well, today I'm going to discuss that process. I've been going for 18 days without food, and my original goal was 21 days. I'm actually at the point where I'm not ready to end the fast, but as I'm approaching that 21-day deadline, I do want to talk about how to end a fast safely for the people out there who are fasting along with this process and who may decide to end their fast before mine is over now. So one thing about this is if you fasted for just water fasting, only drinking water, not eating food for, let's say, up to 3 or 4 days, you probably don't have to be too cautious about ending your fast. You should be able to eat relatively normally just by going back to what you were doing when you decide to end the fast. You can do an abbreviated version of this process. I'm just going to give you some guidelines to follow. And if you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the comments. I can help tailor this process to you as well. So when we're looking at the length of a fast, we're going to be more concerned with 5 days or longer. Because after 5 days, we've really made some major shifts in our body. You know, our stomach's not used to digesting food, so we want to be careful. For me, when I've been doing many 5-day fasts, I found for me, my personal time limit is on day 5, if I decided I wanted to break a fast, I could go eat any normal meal, and on up to day 5, on day 5, if I just eat a normal meal, I can eat it, I feel okay, and then I just need to stay near a bathroom for a few hours because it's going to come out, you know, quickly. It's just going to kind of have a little bit of the runs. It's not fun to think about, but it just goes right through me. And that's up to day 5. If it's day 3 or less, it doesn't really have much of an impact for me. Now, keeping in mind everyone's different, so my day 5 might be your day 3. So if you don't have experience with fasting, you want to take this as cautiously as possible. So for me, up to day 5, I can have even like a heavy meal, a cheeseburger and French fries, or some pizza. And up to day 5, I've experienced no negative side effects other than just make sure I'm near a bathroom because I'm going to have to go a lot sooner than I normally would if I break a day 5 fast with a big meal. Now, however, after day 5, I've noticed that it's a lot more serious. The biggest mistake that I've ever made from fasting was I did a 7-day fast. And on day 7, we got invited to our favorite pizza restaurant. And I ate some pizza there. And it was my favorite food. Now, on day 7, I ate the pizza, and then that gave me a really bad stomach ache. I was very sorry I did that. I had some pretty serious heartburn. It was just a shock to my system. For a few hours, I felt like I ate a brick. Probably because my digestion, my stomach just wasn't used to digesting food. The enzymes had been lower. So that was brutal enough where I never want to have that experience again. Now, when you're fasting for even longer than that, 10 days, 20 days, longer time periods, you have to be even more careful. We get into something called refeeding syndrome, which I'm not going to explain all the reasons behind that in this video. I will in a future video, but that's very serious. Eating too much can be bad for various reasons. It can hurt your kidneys because your kidneys aren't used to processing that amount of food, and if you hit it with too much at once, this can be a very bad shock to your system. It can make you very sick, and it can even potentially cause death if you go overboard. So one of the worst things that you could do after 10 days of fasting would be to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet or some kind of family party where there's 10 or 20 different delicious food items to eat, and then to just go and eat as much as you want. After 10 days of fasting, a weird thing's going to happen. Even after 5 or 7 days of fasting, when you start to eat again, you'll eat a meal and you won't feel full. So it's a bit tricky, because if you're used to eating until you're full, after you've fasted for several days, your body isn't going to have that signal of, oh, I'm full, let's stop. The body is thinking, wow, I haven't eaten in so long, let's eat as much as I can, because who knows when I'll eat next. But be careful, that could be a dangerous thing. So you get into some problems if you do it very harshly. So here's a gentle process to reactivate your body's system, to start your digestion working again, and to come back to being able to eat normally without any severe problems. So these are guidelines. You want to follow this process as gently as possible. So when you're following these suggestions, just, take your time with it. If you stretch this out even longer, this is better, because especially if you're doing fasting for weight loss purposes, then stretching this period out longer is going to help you lose more weight, because you're still going to be having a lot less calories during those time periods. And you won't have a big appetite. So even though the food will taste good and you'll be tempted to eat more of it, hold off on that a bit. Just have enough, when we start drinking some juice, just have enough until you feel somewhat satisfied. And if you're not hungry or thirsty anymore, stop and come back to it. So let me explain the phases. What we want to do is look at the length of the fast, and we want to make a time period equal to about 10% of that fast. So if we're at a 5-day fast, 10% of 5 days would be half a day. For a 10-day fast, 10% of 10 days is 1 day. For a 20-day fast, we have 2 days for each of these time periods. And if you were to do something like a 40-day fast, just for illustration purposes, then we've got a 4-day time period for each of these time slots. So what's the first time period? Now, the first one is what I'll just call coconut water or half juice. So again, doing this gradually. We're not used to having any calories, especially when it's over a 10-day fast. You want to do this gently. It's possible that you might not need this step. You could probably go to the next step. But if you haven't ever fasted for 10 days before, or over 5, it's a good idea to at least do this phase until you feel very comfortable with it, and then move forward. And if it does upset your system a little bit, it'll be a minor upset. It won't be a harsh one. It won't be like getting sick. It'll just be like, oh, okay, that feels a little harsh to me, so I'm going to take that easier. So this coconut water phase, well, a lot of people talk about doing half juice to break a fast. So you dilute juice with 50% juice and 50% water. So that's half juice. And then you just sip on that, and initially just drink like maybe 1 8-ounce glass. Take your time, sip it, enjoy it. It's going to taste wonderful. I like to do coconut water because if you look at the amount of sugar and calories that's in an 8-ounce serving of coconut water, it's about equivalent to half of what a cup of juice is. So coconut water is sort of that perfect ratio of being half juice. I love coconut water, and it has electrolytes. It's replacing potassium. So it's actually nature's Gatorade. It's designed to replenish a lot of the things that you would have in your body from like dehydration. Now, after fasting for a long time, even if you've been drinking a lot of water, there's an element of dehydration to it because you flushed out a lot of those electrolytes. So coconut water is actually one of the perfect drinks. If you can't get coconut water, any type of juice, just take half a glass of, well, orange juice is a little more acidic, so that might upset your stomach a little more. So it would be better to have like a grape juice or an apple juice, or even something nice like a guava juice. Now the orange juice, a little bit harsher, but I've used orange juice. Tastes fantastic. Didn't really bother me too much, but some of the other juices might taste better to you. Pineapple juice is delicious. Same thing, a little more acidic. So for the first time period, let's just use 10 days as an example. If you've been fasting 10 days, you want to spend about a day drinking coconut water or half juice. And don't make it a goal to drink as much as you possibly can. Just have a glass, and then walk away, go throughout your day. A few hours later, have a few glasses of water throughout the day as well. And then later in the day, if you feel like, wow, that was really good earlier, I could go for some more of that, just have some more. Don't make it a mission to drink as much as you want, although at this period, you can have as much as you want. So if you really want that, then go for it. You also want to be careful to maintain. You've reduced your appetite to such a level. You do want to try your best to follow that appetite. Because if you override it and just start drinking more than you really want, like if your body feels like, wow, that was satisfying, and then you said, I just want the taste, let me just drink some more, you're training your body to have those old destructive habits that you were curing through the fast. So just weigh that appropriately. But if you really want it, at this point, you're now allowed to have it because you've been going without for so long. So for a 10-day fast, 1 day of half juice or coconut water. For a 5-day fast, 12 hours. Just have a few glasses over a 12-hour period before we go into the next phase. Now the second phase would be total juice, pure juice, 100% juice. So have your favorite juice. Go out and buy, I like these glass jars. My favorite juice is called pineapple coconut. It's in a glass jar. It's like $8 a jar. But you better believe I get my favorite juice for this time period, and I get some other nice juices as well. I really love pear juice, guava juice, pineapple juice. So for the next window of time, for a 10-day fast, another day of just juice. And again, you can drink as much juice as you feel that you need, trying to balance and keep it with your appetite. If you don't really feel that, wow, the juice would taste good, but I'm not really craving it, I don't really want it, well then, limit the juice. Don't drink too much. Still, you might find that you don't really want any juice, but if you're trying to break the fast and get back to normal food, have a glass or two throughout the day just to reactivate your system. The third recommended phase would be a day. Now you can just have mono fruit. So for me, I like the most satisfying fruit, there's two of them for me, is either a mango or grapes. I really like to break fast as my first fruit with grapes because grapes are mostly water. There's a lot of, they're very easy to digest. They're light on the system. Mango has a little more fiber. Mango is a little bit more hearty. So if I was doing a 10-day fast, I might have grapes in the morning, and I eat a big bowl, like half of a package of grapes, like maybe about half a pound or 3/4 of a pound of grapes. And then in the evening, I might have a mango. So I might have 2 fruit meals that day. But not having a fruit salad, just having 1 piece of fruit. And you could do 3 in 1 day. But we're also trying to break the habit of eating 3 meals a day. So once or twice works well. You're just giving your body time to deal with this stuff. Now, on the 4th day, with each of these, you can continue the juice. If you're happy with the juice, stick with juice for a couple days. Stick with just fruit, mono fruit for a couple days. You could stretch this out further and feel great doing it. You won't have a huge appetite. And if weight loss is your purpose, you're going to keep losing weight. So that's a benefit to just stretch that out and be very gentle. But if you're determined to get back to eating food, the next step, what I like to do, now depending on whether if you're vegan and you're not eating animal products, then obviously you won't want to have yogurt, which I do recommend. Yogurt's a good thing. Very soft in the system, but there's probiotics in the yogurt, and yogurt's very affordable, very available for most people. So at this point, if your goal is to get back into eating, like meat and dairy and stuff like that, yogurt would be the best thing to introduce at this point, and it's giving some nice bacteria for your stomach that may have been eliminated from the fasting process. So for 1 day, you could just add yogurt, and if you're vegan, then a kombucha or any other probiotic, very light, kombucha is probably your best bet. Not aware of all of the probiotic options for vegans, but research probiotics, and you don't want it to be heavy food, you want it to be light, like kombucha. You could even do kombucha as your juice the day before, after you've done some half juice. Kombucha is a little bit more harsh on the system than plain juice though, so maybe make kombucha the day after juice. It's up to you. If you've done shorter than a 10-day fast, you could probably just go right to kombucha, not have the juice, or mix them. So I like to do yogurt on the next phase, and you could break this into another phase, but you could have like a yogurt in the morning, and then a nice salad in the evening. The salad could actually be the next day. You could save that to the next day, but keep the salad light with cucumber, heavy water vegetables. So cucumber, iceberg lettuce, romaine lettuce, some spinach, some bell pepper. You don't want it to be heavy like broccoli, cauliflower, and no meat for this day. We just want a nice, gentle salad, some nice tomato on that, chop up some fresh herbs. You can actually get some Greek yogurt and make a nice salad dressing out of Greek yogurt. You can just research that. Greek yogurt with some lime juice or lemon juice squirted in there and some fresh herbs would probably be enough of a salad dressing. It's going to taste fantastic because you haven't eaten any food. You can also look up Greek yogurt salad dressing. I like to take a lot of cilantro and put it in my Greek yogurt. And at this point, an avocado would be a nice thing to add to that salad as well. And even a little olive oil if you want to add some fat to it and give it some more substance. But for at least one of these time periods, so in a 10-day fast, one day, just have a light salad. No cheese, no meat, no heavy starchy vegetables, just the ones that have high water content. And even simple flavors are going to taste great, so you don't need to get too elaborate with the recipe here, because a cucumber is going to taste amazing. A tomato is going to taste amazing. So you can keep it simple. Just squirting lime juice on some lettuce, some tomatoes, some cucumber, and maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. That might do the trick for you as well. So don't need to get too elaborate. Stay away from the super heavy flavors. Just keep it simple, what you would normally consider bland. And then the following day, if you're trying to go through this process more rapidly, now if you're eating meat, then you'd have something like chicken soup. You just have very light meals. So still at this point, avoid sandwiches, avoid heavy starchy like potatoes. You really want to look for foods that have the highest amount of water content because your system can just get them through you. So to reintroduce meat, soups with meat, very brothy, not cream soups, but brothy soups are excellent for that. And at this point on your salad the next day, just to get you sort of in a direction towards meat, you can have a little bit of shredded cheese on your salad before going back to the meat. And then the following time period after that, now you could have just lighter meat. You don't want to have breaded chicken, but chicken's going to be a nice, mellow, easy meat. So maybe make some chicken salad, some diced up chicken with some mayonnaise. Have that on some fresh greens. So now you've added some chicken, but you're not adding the bread and all this stuff that's hard to digest. Once you've done that, you can just take it easy. Like, wait a week before you have pizza. Pizza's very hard to digest. Any kind of heavy pasta, just think about like the heaviness of it. You want to keep it light and just gradually do something a little bit heavier to work your way back up. But take advantage of this time period because you've reduced your appetite. If you quickly ramp up to the point where you can eat, lasagna, then you've just sort of turned your appetite back on very quickly as well. So take your time going through these phases. I really enjoy, I will just trust my body. When I'm breaking the fast, I will drink coconut water until I feel like, okay, that's kind of enough coconut water. I'd like something a little more substantial. And I'm just gentle with it. If I drink it, say, wow, that was really satisfying. I don't keep drinking it. I come back and have some more later. I may do that for twice as long as I'm recommending here. And then I start having some juice, and I just stretch that out. Sometimes the juice for me, that phase I usually want to end a little more quickly because just the sugars in the juice, they tend to like awaken my appetite more. So I try not to do as much juice because just all of that sugar to me, it actually, I start to feel it creating hunger, and I just don't want to overdo that. And then when you move into the yogurt, I really enjoy that. I might have a few yogurts over a few days and not really have anything else. Or I might do yogurt, a piece of fruit, and just do that. You know, I might have a yogurt and then a mango, grapes, and then a yogurt. I might do that for several days, 2 or 3 times longer than what I'm recommending here. And then when you get into salads, you're going to be pretty happy with salads for a while. So make a bunch of nice salads, and then you can just start off with just the fresh greens and a very light dressing. Then you can start adding a little bit of cheese to it, and then eventually even some diced ham or some diced chicken. But wait before adding the bacon and things like that. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, just follow the same guideline of the lighter vegetables, the lighter dressings, and then adding the broccolis and the cauliflowers later as you work up, and the tofu later. Just tofu would be your meat, or seitan, or whatever else you're doing, the veganaise in the dressing, the heavier stuff. So these are important guidelines for your own safety. Be gentle with ending the fasting process, and if you've done a 5 or a 10-day fast, you now have the ability to change your diet. So this is a great time to not reintroduce foods that you're not trying to eat that often. Save, the dream meals, the lasagnas, the pizzas, the macaroni and cheeses, all the heavy meals that maybe many of us might crave throughout this process. Save that for later and take advantage of the salads, the fresh ingredients, just tasting wonderful. And you can actually stretch this out to get a nice diet effect from this for, at least a couple days, if not a couple weeks, just stretching this process out. So be gentle. If you have specific questions about your circumstance and your plans, drop a comment and I will respond to that. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video on fasting and Qigong and all of this good stuff that we've been talking about for the past 18 days. And my 21-day fast is extending. After day 21, I'm just going to do it day by day. I'm going to continue sharing these videos with that insight. And beyond the 21 days, I will have accomplished my goal, but then I just get to have the fun of being in the moment, trusting my body, and just as it continues to feel fantastic, I will continue to ride that wave until I come to a point where I've decided it's time to break the fast. But I wanted to share this fast breaking tips with you today so that you had access to some advice on how to do that. And look forward to hearing about your fasting journey in the comments to this video and all the other videos on the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. There's new videos daily, and it's through your comments and your subscriptions that this goes out there and reaches more people. So you're not only helping yourself by subscribing, you're helping me and this whole community that's benefiting by finding this information. I'm committed to sharing what works with everyone. And if you haven't picked up a copy of my Qigong for Weight Loss book, there's all kinds of energetic practices to help you not feel hungry and to have high energy while fasting. So there's a link below the video. Check that out. It's on Amazon. You can download it and read it immediately, and it's extremely inexpensively priced to make it available for everyone. So until the next video, Hala.